The emerald rings of the Meridian survey ship, Dawning Whisper, pulsed softly as it emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the Sol system. Ambassador Naira stood at the observation deck, her translucent scales shifting colors with anticipation. After centuries of methodically discovering and uplifting primitive civilizations, the Meridians had perfected the art of first contact. Or so they thought. Unusual energy signatures detected, Ambassador, announced Navigation Officer Zin, his head fronds twitching in confusion. The third planet appears to be heavily fortified. Naira moved gracefully to the sensor display, her crystalline eyes widening at the readings. Their last survey probe had passed this system merely 3 centuries ago, reporting a species barely beginning to harness electrical power. Yet now their sensors were detecting thousands of satellites, massive orbital structures, and energy readings that rivaled the most advanced Meridian cities. Impossible, she whispered, recalibrating the sensors. No species could advance this quickly without guidance. Without. Her words were cut short by a transmission that sliced through their communications array with surgical precision. Unidentified vessel, you have entered restricted space. Maintain current position and prepare for security verification. Any deviation will be met with immediate defensive action. The message was transmitted in perfect Meridian language, along with 12 other major galactic dialects. Before Naira could process this impossibility, a massive vessel materialized from behind one of the gas giants. Unlike the organic curves and flowing lines of Meridian ships, this vessel was angular, armored, and unmistakably designed for both exploration and combat. Ambassador, First Officer Ren's voice trembled slightly, their defensive grid, it's unlike anything in our database. The energy reading suggests shielding capabilities that shouldn't be possible for a civilization this young. Naira felt her diplomatic training strain against the reality before her. The Meridians had spent centuries guiding developing worlds toward peaceful integration, teaching them to overcome their primitive instincts before reaching the stars. Yet here was a species that had not only achieved space flight independently but had done so while maintaining a level of defensive readiness that would have been considered excessive by even the most cautious Meridian strategists. This is Ambassador Naira of the Meridian Alliance vessel, Dawning Whisper, she announced, keeping her voice steady. We come in peace and request permission to establish diplomatic contact. The response came immediately, accompanied by a detailed set of approach vectors and protocols that spoke of a civilization well-versed in the complexities of space traffic control. Welcome, Ambassador Naira. Please follow transmitted coordinates to Orbital Station Helios. Be advised that deviation from designated course will result in immediate security response. Earth Defense Command looks forward to peaceful exchange. As they followed the precise path laid out for them, Naira studied the human vessels they passed. Each showed signs of remarkable engineering, defensive systems seamlessly integrated with scientific arrays, armor plating that doubled as sensor networks, engines that could switch from peaceful propulsion to combat thrust in milliseconds. They're scanning us, Ren reported, his bioluminescent patterns flickering with nervous energy. Their sensor technology, it's remarkable. They're mapping our entire ship structure, but I'm also detecting medical scanning frequencies. They're ensuring we're safe to approach. Naira nodded slowly, a new understanding beginning to form. The humans hadn't built these defenses out of aggression, but out of prudence. While the Meridians had evolved in a galaxy of guided development and peaceful cooperation, humanity had developed in isolation, preparing for every possibility while hoping for the best. As their ship approached the massive orbital station, Naira caught her first clear view of Earth through the station's observation windows. It was beautiful, blue oceans, white clouds, and green continents crisscrossed with the lights of civilization. But unlike any other developing world she had visited, this planet was embraced by a web of defensive satellites and energy fields that glinted like stars against the black of space. Prepare for diplomatic contact, she ordered her crew, but first sent a priority message to the Alliance Council. We've encountered something unprecedented, a species that reached the stars not through guidance, but through their own path. A civilization that built shields before bridges, yet seems to understand the value of both. As their ship locked into place at the docking station, Naira felt a mixture of trepidation and excitement. The Meridians had come to guide, but she suspected they might instead find themselves learning lessons that centuries of peaceful expansion had never taught them. Commander Olivia Reyes stood before the assembled Meridian delegation in Earth Defense Command's primary conference chamber, her expression calm as she gestured to the holographic display of humanity's defense network. 2 weeks had passed since first contact, and initial wariness had given way to cautious exchange. "You have to understand," she explained, manipulating the hologram to highlight the layered defense systems, "these weren't built because we knew what was out there. They were built because we didn't know." Ambassador Naira moved closer to the display, her crystalline eyes reflecting the dancing lights. "But the resources required, the sheer scale of infrastructure, your species could have focused on expansion, exploration, or advancement in other areas." "We did all those things," replied Director Thomas Park from his position at the engineering console. The aging scientist's weathered hands danced across the controls, bringing up new images of Earth's colonies, research stations, and civilian fleets. "But we never forgot our core principle: every advancement must serve multiple purposes. Defense, exploration, and progress, all intertwined." Ren, the Meridian First Officer, had been analyzing the technical specifications of Earth's defensive systems with growing fascination. His bioluminescent patterns pulsed with excitement rather than his earlier anxiety. "Your shield technology, it's remarkable. You developed it without any external reference point for the types of weapons it might face." "That's humanity for you," Director Park said with a slight smile. "We looked at every way we could be harmed and built defenses against them all. When we couldn't imagine a specific threat, we designed systems flexible enough to adapt." As if to emphasize his point, a priority alert flashed across the command center screens. A massive solar flare, unexpected and powerful, was erupting from the sun. Before the Meridian delegation could react, they watched in amazement as Earth's defense grid smoothly transitioned, its weapon systems reconfiguring to project a massive electromagnetic shield that would protect not just Earth but the entire inner solar system. "You see," Commander Reyes continued, "every defensive system we build serves multiple purposes. What can stop an energy weapon can also shield against a solar flare. What can detect an incoming threat can also guide ships through asteroid fields and map new star systems." Naira's scales shifted through shades of deep thought as she processed this information. "In the Alliance, we never needed such measures. We grew together, protected each other, shared our knowledge freely." "A beautiful way to evolve," Commander Reyes acknowledged. "But humanity had to find its own path. We reached the stars carrying the lessons of our history, determined never to be vulnerable, not just to conflict, but to any threat, natural or artificial." The conversation was interrupted by another alert, this one from deep space. A Meridian research vessel far beyond Alliance space had gone silent. Naira's scales paled to a ghostly white as she received the details through her neural link. This has never happened before," she whispered. "We've never lost contact with a ship without warning." Commander Reyes and Director Park exchanged glances, recognizing the weight of this moment, the first crack in the Meridian's perception of a perfectly safe galaxy. Without hesitation, Reyes made a decision that would reshape the relationship between their species. "Ambassador," she said, her voice firm but gentle, "would your Alliance accept our help in investigating this incident? The EDS Horizon is our newest deep space vessel. Like all our ships, she's equipped for both peaceful exploration and defensive operations." The Meridian delegation huddled together, their scales shifting rapidly as they communicated through their neural network. Finally, Naira turned back to Reyes. "We accept, but I request permission to join the investigation personally. I need to understand." "Granted," Reyes replied. "And while the Horizon conducts its mission, I suggest we continue our discussions." Perhaps it's time we shared more details about why humanity built its shield so strong. As the conference room buzzed with activity, Director Park pulled up the Horizon specifications. The ship was a perfect example of humanity's approach to space, bristling with defensive capability but primarily designed for peaceful exploration. Its very existence embodied the philosophy that had shaped Earth's expansion into space: hope for peace, prepare for anything else. The Meridians watched in fascination as the massive Earth ship broke orbit, its powerful engines flaring against the darkness. For the first time in their long history, they were witnessing a different path to the stars, one forged not in the gentle cradle of guided development, but in the determined workshop of self-reliance. As the Horizon disappeared into the depths of space, both species understood that their meeting had changed the course of galactic history forever. Ambassador Naira stood on the bridge of the EDS Horizon, her crystalline eyes fixed on the main view screen. The human ship sensors were unlike anything in the Meridian fleet, not just passive observation tools but active scanning arrays that could pierce the deepest reaches of space. After 5 days of faster-than-light travel, they were approaching the last known location of the missing Meridian vessel. "Multiple debris fields detected," announced Lieutenant Jean Tae-young, his fingers dancing across the tactical console. "Pattern suggests violent decompression." "Ambassador. I'm sorry, but the debris matches Meridian hull compositions." Naira's scales shifted to a deep blue of mourning, but her voice remained steady. "Can you determine the cause?" "Working on it," Jean replied, then suddenly straightened in his chair. "Multiple high-energy signatures detected at the edge of the system. Computer doesn't recognize the pattern, but they're definitely artificial." Captain Rammer Rodriguez, the Horizon's commanding officer, immediately activated the ship's defensive protocols. Shields hummed to life, weapon systems warmed up, and sensor arrays reconfigured for tactical scanning. The smooth transition from exploration to combat readiness happened without a word being spoken, years of drill and preparation making it as natural as breathing. "Unknown vessels emerging from hyperspace," Jean reported. "Design doesn't match any known configuration. They're powering weapons." The first attack came without warning or demand for surrender. Beams of corrupted energy, a twisted version of Meridian technology, lanced through space toward the Horizon. But humanity's paranoid preparation paid off. The ship's shields, designed to withstand theoretical weapons that had never been encountered, absorbed the assault. "Shields holding at 87%, Jean reported. Analyzing attack pattern and adjusting frequencies. Countermeasures ready." Naira watched in amazement as the human crew responded to this unprecedented threat with calm efficiency. The Horizon's defensive systems, which she had initially seen as excessive, now proved their worth. Every contingency humans had prepared for, every theoretical scenario they had designed against, culminated in this moment. "We're being hailed," Communications Officer Priya Nair announced. The image that appeared on the main screen sent chills through both human and Meridian observers. The beings were vaguely humanoid, but their bodies were a disturbing fusion of organic and mechanical parts, their skin writhing with embedded technology. "Your defensive capabilities are impressive," the creature spoke, its voice a synthetic approximation of natural speech. "We had not anticipated encountering resistance in this sector." The Meridian vessel proved disappointingly fragile. Captain Rodriguez stepped forward, her voice cold with controlled anger. "You're in violation of multiple space travel protocols and have committed an act of war against both Earth and the Meridian Alliance. Identify yourself." "We are the Harvesters," the being replied. "For millennia, we have watched the Meridians spread their weakness across this galaxy, teaching species to abandon their strength before they find it. But you humans are different. You built your shields without knowing of us. Impressive. Perhaps you would make better allies than prey." Naira felt her scales ripple in horror as understanding dawned. The Harvesters had been waiting, watching, allowing the Alliance to spread its peaceful influence while preparing to harvest the results, a galaxy of undefended worlds ripe for conquest. But they hadn't counted on humanity. "We decline your offer," Rodriguez replied simply, then cut the transmission. "Lieutenant Jean, send our tactical data to Earth Command. Prepare to engage." What followed was a battle unlike anything the Meridians had witnessed in their centuries of space travel. The Horizon's defensive systems adapted to each new attack, its shields reconfiguring to match the enemy's weapons. The human ship's countermeasures weren't just reactive, they seemed to anticipate the Harvester's strategies, as if humanity's long preparation for theoretical threats had somehow predicted this very moment. "Multiple Harvester ships dropping out of hyperspace," Jean reported. "They're surrounding us." Rodriguez's expression remained calm. "Initiate Protocol Omega. Ambassador Naira, you might want to dampen your neural receptors. This could get intense." The Horizon's hull began to glow as it channeled power into a system Naira had dismissed as redundant during her earlier tour. Every weapon port, every sensor array, every communication antenna suddenly aligned, transforming the entire ship into one massive energy projection device. The burst that followed was precisely calculated, not meant to destroy but to disrupt. The Harvester ship's hybrid technology crashed, their systems overwhelmed by the carefully modulated pulse. As they drifted powerless, Rodriguez ordered a single precise strike to their propulsion systems, ensuring they couldn't escape. "Send word to Earth Command," Rodriguez ordered. "The threat is contained, but the galaxy is larger than we thought." She turned to Naira. "Ambassador, I believe your Alliance Council needs to see this. The peace you've maintained for centuries wasn't just lucky, it was protected by your innocence. But innocence alone can't protect you anymore." Naira nodded slowly, her scales shifting through colors of grief, anger, and finally determination. "We need to learn from you," she said quietly. "The Alliance has spent centuries teaching others how to live in peace. Perhaps it's time we learned how to protect that peace." As the Horizon secured its prisoners and prepared to return to Earth, both humans and Meridians understood that the galaxy had changed forever. The peaceful Meridians and the defensive humans had found something unique in their partnership, a way to preserve peace through strength, and to build shields that didn't create barriers between civilizations but protected them all equally. The massive training facility aboard Luna Base hummed with activity. 3 months had passed since the Harvester encounter, and the facility had been transformed into an unprecedented cooperative venture between humanity and the Meridian Alliance. Director Park watched from the observation deck as a group of Meridian scientists worked alongside human engineers, their neural tendrils interfacing with modified Earth defense systems. The integration of their biological technology with human military hardware had produced remarkable results. "Their ability to process information through their neural network is extraordinary," Lieutenant Jean commented, standing beside him. "Combined with our defensive protocols, they're creating shield configurations we never thought possible." Below them, a young Meridian engineer named Vril synchronized with a prototype defense platform, his iridescent scales glowing as he channeled power through the human-designed system, creating a shield bubble that rippled with both technological and biological energy. "How are they adapting to the combat training?" Park asked. "Better than expected," Captain Rodriguez answered, approaching with Ambassador Naira beside her. "Their natural capacity for coordination actually gives them advantages in defensive formations. Once we helped them overcome their initial reluctance to think in tactical terms, their neural networking proved invaluable for synchronized operations." Naira's scales shifted to colors of pride tinged with concern. "My people are learning fast, but the cultural adjustment has been challenging. Centuries of pure peace isn't easily balanced with the necessity of defense." "You're not learning to wage war," Rodriguez reminded her gently. "You're learning to protect everything you've built. There's a difference." Their conversation was interrupted by an alert from the tactical center. The long-range detection grid, now enhanced with Meridian sensory technology, had picked up multiple Harvester signatures in a distant sector of space. "They're probing Alliance borders," Naira reported, her neural tendrils processing the data stream. Testing our new defenses, looking for weaknesses. Rodriguez smiled grimly. Then let's show them what our cooperation has produced. Lieutenant Jean, is the Joint Task Force ready? The EDS Vigilance and 3 Meridian cruisers are prepared for deployment, Jean confirmed. Crews are integrated, systems are synchronized. This will be the first real test of our combined capabilities. The task force launched within the hour, Earth's newest defensive vessel escorting Meridian ships that had been retrofitted with human shield technology. Each crew was mixed, humans and Meridians working together, combining the strength of both civilizations. From the Vigilance's bridge, Director Park watched the formation move with fluid grace. The Meridian ships, once purely aesthetic in their organic design, now bristled with defensive capabilities. Yet they hadn't lost their beauty, instead, they'd gained a certain dangerous elegance, like roses with thorns. Multiple harvester vessels detected, Jean announced. They're retreating. Naira's scales rippled with something close to satisfaction. They recognize the shield configurations. They know what happened to their scouting force. But more importantly, they're seeing something they didn't expect, our civilizations working as one. They thought they could exploit the gap between our approaches to space, Rodriguez noted. Instead, we've bridged it. Your people's ability to network and cooperate, combined with our defensive preparations, creates something stronger than either of us alone. On the main screen, they watched as the joint fleet executed a perfect defensive formation. The Meridian ships moved with their natural grace, but now that grace was guided by human tactical doctrine. Their organic sensors extended the range of human scanning technology, while Earth's shield designs protected their more vulnerable systems. We're teaching each other, Park observed. Your people are learning to protect themselves, while we're learning that defense doesn't always mean isolation. The shields we build together are stronger than the ones we built alone. As if to demonstrate his point, a harvester vessel suddenly emerged from hyperspace, attempting to catch the fleet off guard. The response was immediate and coordinated, Meridian sensors detected the threat instantly, human shields snapped into place, and the combined fleet moved as one organism to contain the intruder. The harvester ship retreated as quickly as it had appeared, but the message was clear. The galaxy was changing. The peaceful Meridians and the defensive humans had found something unique in their partnership, a way to preserve peace through strength, and to build shields that didn't create barriers between civilizations but protected them all equally. As they prepared to return to Earth, Ambassador Naira approached Director Park with a proposal. Our council has reviewed the data from our encounters with the harvesters. We believe it's time to implement what we're calling the Guardian Protocol, a complete integration of Meridian and human defensive technologies across all Alliance worlds. Park raised an eyebrow. That's a significant shift in Alliance policy. The galaxy has changed, Naira replied, her scales shifting through patterns of determination. Or perhaps we're finally seeing it as it truly is. Either way, we need to change with it. Not by abandoning our peaceful principles, but by learning to protect them properly. As the joint fleet set course for Earth, both species understood that they were witnessing the birth of something unprecedented, a civilization that could maintain peace not through ignorance or force, but through the careful balance of wisdom and strength, preparation and cooperation. The true test would come soon enough, when the harvesters launched their main assault. But for the first time, neither humans nor Meridians would face the darkness alone. The combined fleet of Earth and Meridian vessels hung in high orbit above Nova Prime, humanity's furthest colony. Director Park stood on the bridge of the EDS Vigilance, watching as the massive planetary shield grid powered up for the first time. It was a testament to both civilizations. Human defensive technology merged with Meridian biological interfaces, creating protection more sophisticated than either species could have managed alone. Shield harmonics at optimal levels, reported Vril, his neural tendrils interfacing directly with the ship's tactical systems. The young Meridian had become one of their finest hybrid systems operators, embodying the successful merger of both cultures. The relative peace was shattered by a priority alert from the long-range detection grid. "Multiple hyperspace ruptures detected," announced Lieutenant Jean. "Signature matches harvester vessels. Count is in the thousands." Park felt a chill run down his spine. This wasn't a probe or a test, this was an invasion fleet. "Alert all commands. This is what we've prepared for." The harvester ships emerged from hyperspace in a disciplined formation that stretched across thousands of kilometers. Their hybrid vessels, twisted combinations of organic and mechanical components, filled the void like a swarm of metallic insects. On the main communication channel, a familiar synthetic voice spoke. "You have had time to reconsider our offer," the harvester commander stated. "Humanity's strength could serve a greater purpose than protecting the weak. The Meridian's biological mastery could advance our evolution. Join us, or witness the futility of your defenses." Park glanced at Ambassador Naira, who stood beside him with scales shimmering through patterns of determined resolve. The Meridian ambassador gave a slight nod, they had planned for this moment. "We reject your offer," Park replied simply, "and we'll show you why." The harvester fleet launched their attack with overwhelming force. Energy weapons and biological torpedoes flashed against the combined Earth-Meridian defenses. But where once such an assault would have overwhelmed either civilization alone, now it met something unprecedented. The planetary shield grid, guided by Meridian neural networks and powered by human engineering, adapted instantly to each attack. Defensive formations that had been practiced for months snapped into place with organic fluidity. Human weapons merged with Meridian biological technology created shields that didn't just block attacks, they learned from them. "They're targeting the colonial habitats," Vril reported, his tendrils flaring with tactical data. "Trying to find a weakness in our coverage." "Initiate Protocol Unity," Park ordered. Across the battlefield, human and Meridian ships began a maneuver that would have been impossible a year ago. The Meridian vessels' organic hulls merged with human shield projectors, creating a living defensive web. Earth ships provided the backbone of firepower while Meridian neural networks coordinated their movements with impossible precision. The harvester attack faltered as their weapons failed to find any vulnerabilities. Each adaptation they made was countered by the combined intuition of human tactical experience and Meridian neural processing. "All ships, execute final phase," Park commanded. The entire defensive grid, from the smallest satellite to the largest capital ship, synchronized into a single network. Human power systems channeled energy through Meridian biological conduits, creating a cascading wave of defensive force that rippled through space. The harvester ships, their hybrid technology suddenly faced with a superior fusion of organic and mechanical systems, began to fail. "Their systems are crashing," Jean reported with quiet satisfaction. "The biological components of their ships can't handle the feedback." Within hours, the great harvester fleet had been reduced to drifting hulks, not destroyed, that hadn't been the goal. Instead, they had been systematically disabled by a civilization that had learned to combine strength with wisdom, preparation with cooperation. As recovery ships moved in to secure the disabled vessels, Park turned to Naira. "1 year ago, your people thought our defenses were paranoid, and we thought your trust in peace was naive. We were both right, and we were both wrong." Naira's scales shifted through colors of agreement and pride. "The Meridians taught the galaxy how to live in peace, but humanity taught us how to protect that peace. Together, we've created something neither of us could have imagined, a shield strong enough to defend without needing to destroy." On the main screen, Earth and Meridian ships worked in perfect coordination to secure their victory. But it was more than just a military triumph. They had proven that preparation didn't have to mean isolation, that strength didn't have to come at the cost of wisdom, and that the best shields were those built not around individual worlds but around shared ideals. As the combined fleet celebrated their victory, they had sent a message to the galaxy. The future would be built not by those who chose between peace and strength, but by those who found the wisdom to embrace both. In the space between Earth's iron giants and the Meridian's peaceful worlds, a new civilization had been born, one that understood both the value of peace and the necessity of being strong enough to preserve it. The stars had changed, and in their light, humanity and the Meridians had forged something entirely new, a future where strength served wisdom, and wisdom guided strength, creating a shield large enough to protect all who sought shelter beneath it.